Hey, welcome. So shooting a video here in Egamai today. Today's video is all about social anxiety. That's what the subject of today's video is. Do you ever suffer from social anxiety? Social anxiety was what got me into personal development, coaching, therapy, all of this kind of stuff, and I'm going to be sharing with you my experience and how that happened, what my journey was, and how you can actually improve your social confidence, get over anxiety, and come to be more social anxiety. That was what first got me into personal development, coaching, therapy, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm going to be talking about how that experience shaped me and what you can do to help improve your social confidence. Hey, Sodi Cup. Just walking through the neighborhood here, my local noodle stall there. Social anxiety, that was what first got me into this, and up until my mid-20s I had a lot of social anxiety. Welcome guys. Social anxiety is the topic of today's video, how you can become more socially confident, more at ease with yourself, and better in social situations. And this is a subject really close to my heart because it was what first got me into coaching, personal development, all of this kind of stuff. And I'm going to be sharing with you my journey, my story, and also talking about how you can actually become more socially confident and at ease with yourself so that you can actually even enjoy going out, talking to people, or at least be more comfortable with that. So up until my mid-20s, I had a lot of social anxiety. I would go out like to parties or music venues, clubs, etc. And if you didn't know me, you'd think that I was quite a confident person because I was very at ease in those kind of big environments like raves with thousands of people, or nightclubs that were, flashing lights, loud music, because I am a big music fan, and so that was a big part of my life growing up. But the thing was, I was great in those environments, but the more intimate, quiet, relaxed settings, that is what really terrified me, because if I had to actually speak to somebody like one-on-one in a more quiet venue where there was the potential for them to get to know me more, that really made me very anxious. Because when you're in a loud club and you can't really hear what someone's saying, and it's very busy, there isn't really the same level of intimacy as in a much quieter, more one-on-one kind of environment. So I was almost like using that to hide, and it was very effective because people didn't think that I had social anxiety, but I knew I did. And when it came to the more relaxed or intimate kind of scenarios, like talking to someone in a party or in a meeting at work or in a social gathering, I was really anxious, and I would really hold back from being expressive. I would avoid those kind of situations, and it really stifled my experience of life a lot. And I remember waking up in my mid-20s. I was living in a shared house, and at the start of that, it was me and some friends. We rented a flat or an apartment, and when we first moved in, everybody was single, and then a couple of years later, everybody had pardon me, everybody had a girlfriend except me. And I remember waking up just feeling really lonely and down about this whole situation. And it wasn't just the fact that I wanted a girlfriend. It was the fact that I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone. I literally was incapable of having those kind of discussions because of my fear and social anxiety. And the reality was that up until, after I left university, any kind of romantic relationship that I'd had, it was like literally the girl throwing herself at me and me eventually making a move. That was how I got into any relationship prior to that. But it was it was very little to do with my actions. It was more like the girl was really attracted to me and made it very obvious. And then, I eventually, we started dating. But that wasn't coming from my side of that equation. And I felt very powerless and unable to connect with people. And that's not a very good feeling. It really sucks. And I think a lot of people actually feel that and don't talk about it. So I was living in this house with some guys and one girl. They already had boyfriends and girlfriends. I didn't. And I realized, like, if things were going to change, I needed to change, because people would give me the cliched advice about, oh, well, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Which is terrible advice, by the way. If anybody says that, it's not good advice. So I knew that I needed to actually do something, and so I reached out and I started to get therapy.